Ask any Tokyo Ghoul fan to describe its artwork, and I bet my money you'll get responses in the vein of, "It's visually striking. It's just so beautiful. It's got one of the best facial expressions I've ever seen. It's very dark and unsettling, in a good way." That's all good, but let's hear from the master himself. Tokyo Ghoul is a crude, unpolished work, but I love it nonetheless. As a premise, I don't really consider Tokyo Ghoul a success. For me, success is when I feel like I've drawn something well. When I think about it, I don't actually ask that it be well received in society or that many people like it. So, success for me is whether I can praise myself for it or not. Okay, nothing to see here, guys. Just another manga artist taking a dump on his creation that is beloved and considered a masterpiece by fans worldwide, has sold over 48 million copies and racked up many awards. What's that science quote? For every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. Before we dive into the action that caused the opposite reaction from the renowned Tokyo Ghoul artist, let's start afresh from the action that started it all. The action of all actions. The action that begins with a race to an egg. It all began on 28 December 1986, when Sui Ishida came into the world. Growing up, he never really had childhood friends, as his family was always on the move due to the nature of his father's work. His hobbies were mostly video games, and it seems he's kept that hobby intact as he streams video games for his YouTube channel. He also drew for a while during his elementary school days, but soon stopped when he accidentally spilled drawing ink on his mom's mat. Something about that incident made him quit drawing for 10 years. His academic life in school was, well, let's just say being able to draw and write great stories doesn't translate to good grades. But his poor grades weren't because he was dumb. He just didn't have interest in what he was studying. More so, he mentioned a time when he tried studying very hard and got the highest grade in class. And his dad, being a stern disciplinarian, said to him, "Son, keep it up for next time." Well, that explains a lot. It was around this time in high school that he started drawing again, doing it digitally via the internet. When the time came to finding a job, he couldn't find any that interested him. And the few he wanted to try required a level of expertise he didn't learn from his school days. In his words, "In the end, after being screamed at by my father, I gave up and agreed to go job hunting." My memory is a bit hazy, but on that occasion I seem to have told him, "I'm dead." I wonder if it was those words that broke me, because it eventually allowed me to choose a path other than finding employment. The path that came to mind at the time was becoming a mangaka. After this experience, Ishida studied manga and moved to Tokyo to start working, in his own words, as a useless assistant for Hara Yasuhisa, widely known as the creator of the manga series Kingdom. Ishida said that he learned a lot about manga from Hara Yasuhisa and respects him deeply. Ishida got his big break by entering Tokyo Ghoul in Shueisha's weekly Young Jump competition, an annual contest by the magazine to find new talent. Originally, Tokyo Ghoul started as a one-shot. But when you write and draw a story as good as Tokyo Ghoul, the big guys always come knocking. Weekly Young Jump offered him a chance to serialize it, marking his first attempt as a manga artist. In 2011, Tokyo Ghoul made its debut in the magazine, quickly gaining massive popularity. And of course it gained popularity. A world where two beings exist, humans and ghouls. And the perfect conundrum, the ghouls look exactly like humans, but they're not. In fact, their humanity stops with their looks. They're faster, stronger, and feed only on human meat and coffee. Any other thing they try to eat tastes like dumpster fire. Enter our protagonist, Ken Kaneki, a shy college nerd who unknowingly falls for a ghoul and goes on a date with her. She tries to eat him, but dies in an accident that leaves him in critical condition. To keep him alive, doctors transplant her organs to him. And you guessed it, he becomes a hybrid. Half human, half ghoul. Wait a minute, this whole plot sounds familiar. Isn't this just a Japanese take on the vampire and werewolf thing? They look like us, but they are stronger, faster, and feast on us for food? Huh. Anyway, Kaneki starts off as a moralist, refusing to feed on humans. Then he finds a group of ghouls that survive without killing humans. How? they feed on the dead, mostly fresh bodies of suicide victims. I mean, hopefully they're fresh. You can't make this shit up. The rest of Tokyo Ghoul Part 1 shows Kaneki's struggles and how he figures out the harsh realities of being a ghoul. For example, the CCG, or Commissionist Counter Ghoul, a human organization that hunts ghouls, even the ones who don't kill humans. Kaneki's tragic story deepens when he gets captured and tortured by an utterly sadistic ghoul called Yamori, or Jason, whatever. Eventually Kaneki gives in and turns into, you guessed it, a full-blown ghoul. The rest of this first part of Tokyo Ghoul follows Kaneki's rise as a leader in the ghoul community, facing numerous conflicts with the CCG and internal struggles within himself. In Tokyo Ghoul RE, we see Kaneki struggling with amnesia, now fighting for the very side he once opposed, the CCG, and we get to see the world of Tokyo Ghoul from another perspective, delving deeper into characters. Ultimately, Kaneki seeks and finds peace between humans and ghouls. And while this may sound like a happy ending, believe me, it's not. It's still a devastating tragedy. And that's why the artwork of Ishida always stands out to readers. The art doesn't shy away from making parallels to its story. The story is a dark tragedy, and the art is a dark one. There is synchronization between the style and the substance of the plot. But it's not just the darkness of it. Even when the panels are draped in white, there's always this sharp contrast between the blacks and the whites, reminding you that this is a terrifying world. Even in its whiteness, the art scares you. In a good way. You instinctively know you're in a world that is not safe for anyone, ghoul or human. One major thing that's crucial to the story of Tokyo Ghoul is its characters' emotions. For a story with the genre of a dark fantasy steeped in supernatural thriller, it goes knee-deep into horror elements from the start and lingers on till the very end. If you've ever watched a horror story, you know emotions help to sell the believability. And that's what Ishida does here. You can feel every emotion of the character. The pain, the fear, the smile, the hate, even hunger. Look how Ishida displays it. Pure class. You're not just seeing the characters go through the motions, you are the character going through the motions. Another highlight of Ishida's artwork in Tokyo Ghoul is his detailed close-ups, especially when the transformations are occurring. It's always a fearful beauty to watch. Another thing that adds to the authentic darkness of Ishida's artwork is the raw, chaotic line work that he uses. Look at this creepy one. The lines just further augment the feel of the book. I remember seeing this for the first time and feeling the hair on my body stand. The lines might look unfinished and crude, but it's part of what makes Tokyo Ghoul's art so unsettling. What I found interesting about Ishida's art and character design is how he uses existing designs to uniquely create new characters. Use Kaneki and Sasaki as an example, two sides of the same coin type of analogy, if you will. On the outside, the only thing that really stands out is how they both have different hair color, but throughout the series the tone and the intensity of penwork when it comes to drawing facial expressions really sets these two apart. Nashiro and Kurona, the two one-eyed ghoul twins, also leave a good impression on me throughout the series. Their distinctive yet simplistic design really captures Ishida's art. He can draw silly panels to suit the comedic tone of a moment, but he is also not shy to hit you with one of the most stunning and alluring panels you will ever see in a manga. It is still mysterious to me why he doesn't rate his own art. In 2017, Ishida released a redrawn version of Tokyo Ghoul Chapter 1, and it was nothing short of breathtaking. Fans all over praised it for its additional artwork details, the change in dialogue, and, of course, the significant improvement in Rise, the ghoul who got him into his life's troubles in the first place. But what most people missed is his artwork wasn't just better looking, it was smarter. When you look at the redrawn chapter, you notice that a lot of dialogue was completely removed, not replaced. What this meant was he needed to substitute visual language for the removed dialogue, and boy did he do that excellently. For example, take the restaurant scene when Hide leaves Kensaki to drool over Rise. The original chapter takes 3.5 pages of dialogue and internal monologue to get to the point, whereas the redrawn chapter only takes 2 pages of beautiful artwork illustration, and internal monologue to show how they connect. Many things can be said about Tokyo Ghoul's artwork, but what really makes it work is the tone adds color to the theme of the story, even though it's black and white. Here's what I mean. When we start off with Kensaki at the beginning of the story, his hair is fully black. When he's tortured and accepts his ghoul side, his hair turns white. As the story progresses, his hair keeps changing its form, mixed at times back to black and then to white again. Each time it changes, it communicates meaning to us, telling us more about the story. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. In the beginning of the video, I was going to tell you why Ishida made those comments about hating his artwork. Well, it turns out he had to churn out the Tokyo Ghoul series weekly, and at first he did it alone, but later on he brought in about 6 assistants to help with his drawing. And while that helped reduce the workload, it only separated him from his vision, as the assistants couldn't always draw exactly what he wanted. But even with that, the Tokyo Ghoul series was an immense pressure for him, having to consistently churn out the series weekly, often working 30 hours at a stretch. Why am I drawing manga? If I ask myself that now, my answer would be because it was necessary. My life has revolved around chasing the deadline week after week. There was good that came with it, but oftentimes there was more bad than good. Because of this, I felt like I was finally being released from a cage after being trapped in it for so long.